What's going on, everyone? It's Adam and Craig with Grandstand Golf. In this video, we're talking DFS sleepers for the 2021 Sentry Tournament of Champions. I had to make sure I didn't say 2020 there, but Craig, we're in 2021. It's our first sleeper show of the year. Yeah.
I mean, if I'm making resolutions, it's to pick more sleepers. But yeah,
pick more sleepers or pick
better sleepers. And actually, I guess on that note, we're only doing 2 sleepers each this week, just because smaller field.
Yeah.
We don't want to just pick half the guys because then it just doesn't feel so good when you hit.
So no cut event, 42 player field. We talked about it in our DFS pick show where we broke down the course, a little bit of strategy, and we'll talk more strategy Wednesday night on our live show, 9 p.m. Eastern. But any early signs, Craig? Stars, scrubs, middle, leave salary on the table?
I'm just
with everything.
So we'll get into the sleepers here, but I really like a lot of the guys between about 73, 74 and maybe 65. So I think what I'm going to do is get the guys up high that I like and then load up with however many of those guys. I just find that there's at the very bottom there seems to be some weakness, and so getting those guys that I think will be competitive but still cheap.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree. I think I'm going to leave salary on board. For big GPPs, I'm going to be super different. I talked about on our DFS pick show, leave the DJs, leave the JTs, and kind of try to really be different. But for kind of maxing out my player pool, I'll probably, like you said, kind of key on those guys from 65, 66 to low 7s in there, and just kind of roll with them, changing it up top.
Yeah.
But with that being said, we're talking sleepers. Usually we're 7,500 and below. I think we're 7,000 and under for every single pick on our sleeper.
Yeah, I think this guy might be the highest priced.
Yeah, Ryan Palmer, 7,000 on DraftKings. He is 30th there on FanDuel. He's 7,700. He's 28th. Over the past 3 months, what does his stats look like compared to the rest of the field? So this is only players in the field, but on approach, he's 0.72. That's just good for 12th. Tee to green, 1.43, which is 12th. And total, I blanked and I didn't put it in there, but it's above strokes gained tee to green, and he's 14th. So that's just showing that he's not falling off on putting really at all. His putter is about average with where he
and I think the real important one to me is that you look at his price and he's 30th, and you look at these key stats and he's 12th to 14th, and so just the value there.
Yeah, absolutely. In our Grandstand Golf value model, which you can find on our website, link is below in our description. He ranks 6 as the 6th best value in our model. So again, he's pretty high in terms of his pure kind of model rank, but in terms of value across his pricing, he's the 6th best value. Obviously veteran, he's in his 40s now. He does have experience at Kapalua. 4 starts there. His last one in 2020, he was 17th. But before that, it was 2011, 2009, 2005. So it's kind of all over the place with his history there. But he has won in Hawaii as well. I don't think it's a necessarily good course comparison, but winning on the island, I think, kind of just brings the good vibes. I know there's usually good vibes in Hawaii, but it just brings good vibes for people coming to Hawaii knowing they've won here.
Yeah, and whether it's a good course comparison or not, it's still similar. Like, there's so many similarities in terms of beyond just how the course lays out, like your travel schedule, all the things associated with these guys being able to perform out there on the golf course.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I'll hop into my first one here. I'm going Lanto Griffin. 6,900 on DraftKings, 31st. 7,200 on FanDuel, 33rd there. One of the things I do like about him, his recent form is a little bit up and down. So last 10 tournaments, 5 of them he's in the top 20. 5 of them he's tied for 43rd or worse. So, typically I'm looking at...
that here. There's only 42 players, so it's got to be the top 20.
So it's got to be top 20. No, so I don't think he's playing well enough that he's going to attract a ton of attention. Yeah. I mean, maybe he just, because of the names he's around, he still could end up with decent ownership because, he's been a bit of a sleeper horse for a lot of people. But I think that he has shown the ability to put together tournaments in the past few months. Yeah. So I'll take the chance on an up on enough of my DFS tickets, and if he doesn't play well, that's fine. I'll you know, you got to shoot your shots. You look at last year in Hawaii, he had a good Hawaii swing. He was 13th here at Kapalua, and again, similar to Palmer. Maybe there's not the closest comparison, but he was tied for 7th at the Sony Open. So it just speaks to the fact that I think he's played well on this swing before. So there's no reason to think that he won't this year. Similar to Palmer again, I just like the value. I think it's straightforward. He is 23rd in both 2020 and 2021 in terms of strokes gained total, and he's 31st in pricing. So I just think it's very simply, where are you going to hang your hat on low salary guys? I think he's one that the value is there on.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's just, I mean, strokes gained total doesn't really lie that much. It has all parts of your game there, and you compare that against his salary, it's a value.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it sounds a little bit boring, but it's simple. I think he's good value.
Yeah. You look for value and then upside. That's pretty much it. My second sleeper is Kevin Na, 6,700 on DraftKings. He's 33rd there on FanDuel. He's 7,300 to 32nd. Recent form is trending up. So not a guy who's played a ton of golf. We haven't seen a lot of Kevin Na in the last kind of little bit of 2020 here, but he is T28. That's the Zozo. He's 13th. That's the Masters. And then T2, QBE shootout. I talked about it with Harris English. I know it's not a real event, but you have to be you're playing golf in December. You're playing decent golf in December. It's not going towards your PGA stats or anything like that, but you're showing decent recent form. And that's really all I care about. He's playing well. He finished 2020 did not go well here for Kevin Na. He finished second to last. I think perhaps I might lower his ownership percentage as well. Plus the people around him. I think the guy you're going to talk about next might get a little bit more ownership. Kevin Na, just a nice kind of a veteran play. I don't know about sneaky, but a veteran play. Good putter. It can correct a lot of things. I just feel like it's a gut call. Sneaky top 15 kind of upside with him. 6,700. That's kind of where, like I said, you got to shoot your shot down here. I'm going with Kevin Na. Lower ownership. I want to be contrarian a little bit. I think he might be less popular, so I'm going to go Kevin Na.
Yeah, I think the thing about Na to me is that it's very volatile. Like, he can get streaky, and he can get streaky hot. Yeah. And you're just like, man, how's this guy not in so many more tournaments? Yeah. And then you won't see him again for a month, and then you'll see him again. He's dropping bombs from all over the putting green, and then you're like, man, this guy just is lights out again. And so those are the kind of guys sometimes you need to take shots with, because then when you get them, it's like those high upside receivers that they might only catch 2 balls, but sometimes they do it, and it's for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, they take it to the house.
Yeah. So you'd love to bring up the QBE shootout. So
I'm not. It's just like recent. They're playing okay.
I just realized that I've actually gone with a partnership here, the Griffin and Hughes partnership that also was, I think, tied for second there. So my second one here, Mackenzie Hughes. If you haven't listened to our podcast at all, we could basically rename it the Mackenzie Hughes podcast because this guy is almost our favorite thing to talk about. We're Canucks at heart, so it's tough to get away from him. 6,800 on DraftKings, he's 32nd there, and 7,400 on FanDuel, 31st there. I think he will, like you said, attract a bit of ownership, as opposed to Kevin Na. But just looking through it, putting matters at Kapalua more than at your average PGA Tour course, and he is elite. He was top 10 through the full 2020, just over 0.7 strokes gained putting, and he's about the same. He's high 6s this year. It's not top 10, but that's just because early season there's a lot of people who are street. They just happen to be peaking right now. But I suspect typically come the end of the year, high 0.6s is going to get you into the top 10. So he's a great putter. He just seems to have the ability to compete in strong fields, and I think that is I mean, if you look at his stats, it's definitely due to his putting and short game, because his ball striking is not anything to compete with the top dogs. But last 8 starts, 4 top 10s. Can't ask for anything more out of a guy who is ranked where he is. And then the last thing I was looking at, I was looking through good course comparisons here. Corrales Punta Cana is a good one. You look at Mackenzie Hughes' last 2 tournaments there. He is 3rd this year. He was tied for 2nd last year. So if that carries over, I just think, I mean, he's a grinder, but he's a grinder with upside. And so
absolutely,
I'm gonna ride the Mackenzie Hughes train again, and hopefully it pays off.
Yeah. So I spent a lot of time looking at Mackenzie Hughes this morning, kind of trying to figure out.
Just gazing into his eyes.
Gazing into his eyes. But I agree with you. It all kind of lines up. So I was kind of looking at reasons not to play him, because when he went below 7,000, he seemed like the obvious name there. I think there's going to be a lot of lineups that have DJ him, JT him, and then kind of fill in, kind of move in up and down from there. Someone in the low 7s, someone in the high 8s, that kind of thing. So I think he's going to be popular. That's my only thing with Mackenzie Hughes. We talked about on our Grandy's show. He was one of the best values, I think, or DFS plays in 2020
through the whole season.
Period. Yeah. So I think people who play DFS remember that. They've seen him on GPP winning lineups. So I think his ownership might just creep up a little bit, but there's a reason. So it's kind of hard. So I think if the lineups I do plug him into, I think I will play him. I'm going to have to be sneaky elsewhere so I don't get duplicated. That's kind of my thinking.
Yeah, you have to think that you're not playing all your most popular picks and Mackenzie Hughes. And so I think you're absolutely right. I think that is the downside of him, is that he has been performing well for people in DFS. And so people remember that, and he still seems to be priced down there. And I think it is because his ball striking is not as good as the top guys. And so, but, you know, I'm going to have a lot of ones where I think I diversify higher up. Through I think the 8s and the high 7s, and so I think that for those ones I'll plug someone like Mackenzie Hughes in, and maybe I'll get that Hughes Griffin combo, who I think both of those guys are going to be pretty high.
It's also hard to find sleepers in a tournament called the Tournament of Champions. The field is shorter. It's the top guys in the field. It's like the Tour Champions. It's championship. It's hard to find guys in the top 30 in the world that are not. They can all compete here.
Yeah, exactly. And the one of the things about Hughes, I think the harder this course plays, the more I like him.
Yeah.
I think he does a good job playing on harder courses. So, if the wind does blow, I'm going to be pretty happy with him as a pick.
Yeah, for sure. That's our sleepers, 2 each. There's 7,000 and below. Make sure to watch our live DFS show Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Follow us on Twitter at Grandstand Golf. We'll tell you when that is dropping, but we go through our complete lineups, kind of our 20 lineup build. We can talk about our exposures, all that on that show. So make sure to come join us then.
Yeah, let us know below if there is anyone else 7,500 or below that you like. Plant your flag, name them now, so that after the tournament's over, you can say "told you so,"
and we'll shout you out on our podcast.
Yeah. All right, take care, guys. We'll see you next time.